Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United pod. I'm your host, TC, and back alongside me, we've got your co-host, Scott. Hello, Scott.
How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. Yourself?
Oh, not bad, thanks.
Good, man. On today's show, we look at United's options with a fully fit squad to choose from, assess the other challenges for the top four spot, and round up the latest transfer rumours and news around Old Trafford. First, though, it's only right to pay tribute to our European Cup winning fullback, Tony Dunn. Older generation Manchester United fans raved about him, and the Irishman sits 8th on the all-time appearance list with 535 games for United. Rest in peace, Tony.
Absolutely. One of my dad's favourites. He used to always wax lyrical about Tony Dunn. Sad day.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, older generations really did rave about him. And as we mentioned in a pod a little while ago, we used to have loads of Irish players, didn't we? And he's right up there next to Dennis Irwin on the all-time appearance list. So yeah, rest in peace, Tony, and have a good game with Georgie Best in the sky. Yeah. Anyway, Scott, today we're going to focus on our options going forward, the new rules, Ollie's option, how Ollie's going to adapt to this 9-game season. But first of all, how are you feeling? You feeling good about this or what?
Yeah, I'm ready for football to come back. I'm just ready for any sport to come back, to be honest with you. A couple of weeks ago, there was the golf match between Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and just to have some sort of competition, some sort of sport back was fantastic. I can't wait for the Premier League season to come back and some sort of normalcy to be resumed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's getting closer now. We're less than 2 weeks away. It seems like it's going to go ahead. The latest round of tests has come back with no one failing any tests. So it looks like we're back. We had a closed-door friendly a few days ago. Apparently we're going to have another one today. We were meant to play Stoke at Carrington, but that got KO'd for some reason. What do you make of the rumours, Scott? It seems like it was 4-4 at Old Trafford, but there were some funky scorers coming out, wasn't there?
Yeah. I did think when the provisional scorers list came out, I did think it was a bit convenient that Rashford got a hat-trick and everyone got a couple of assists. You know, it seemed a bit too perfect, if you know what I mean.
It was like a starry-eyed kid had written, preparing for the season, 4-4,
exactly,
Rashford hat-trick, Pogba goal, 2 assists, Bruno 2 goals, 2 assists, Martial, McTominay.
Exactly. If you would ask your 8-year-old nephew...
Well, when I saw Fosu Mensah got an assist, I thought it might be you, mate.
Angel Gomez didn't get all 4 goals. It wasn't me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Still hasn't signed his contract. I've been looking at that every day.
No, but still no negative words. I'm hearing it's getting closer, and maybe, nice time to touch on it, maybe these new rules regarding the subs might benefit that situation. We've now got 5 subs permitted to be used in 3 blocks and 9 players allowed on the bench. That's got to benefit Angel Gomez for these last 9 games, surely.
Yeah, but it's also going to act as an advert for everyone else who could sign him as well, right? Like, we of all people should know what he can do, so I don't know why we need proof in actual games that he deserves a contract, which, I mean, I would have given him years ago. So
what I'm saying is it might be able for us to be able to prove to him, because what he wants is game time and appearances. But his contract does run out on the 30th of June. Mm-hmm. So that is something to keep an eye on because, of course, we've got a few games in June and then we're into July. And looking at those games,
I think that's going to be pushed back. They're going to be given emergency contracts like Lallana just got given for Liverpool.
Yeah.
That 30th of June, it's not going to work.
Yeah. I mean, I agree in terms of first-team squad members, but if someone chucks a massive contract at him and says, look, we don't want you to play, who knows what might happen. But hopefully the rumours I've heard are true and we're going to tie him down and he will be part of the first-team squad for this season and beyond. But what do you think? Top 4, do you think that's it's almost a must now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
With the situation we're in, with the run-in we've got.
Yeah, and the form that we had before 2 of our best players coming back.
Yeah.
And I do think we actually do need to try and get 4th because I don't want to get 5th and get disappointed by City's ban getting overturned and then we're back in the Europa League, back playing on Thursdays.
Their ban is going on as we speak, isn't it? Their hearing's going on as we speak.
Yeah.
It's should be done tomorrow. Crossed. It was rumoured that the result would come out in August. Now, and now they're saying actually it might be in mid-July, which is good news. One of the CAS chiefs said that yesterday. So hopefully,
but one thing you've been saying to me for years is that we need to put our own destiny in our own hands and not depend on other teams losing points and this and that. We have 9 games which we can probably win 6, maybe 7 of them, I'd say.
Yeah,
and we need to go out all guns blazing.
100%. No, you are right. And we'll look at the other teams' run-ins in a little bit. But in terms of ours, look, June is the big one for us. We're straight back into action against Spurs on the Friday the 19th. so a week on Friday. Then we've got Sheffield United on the Wednesday, and then we've got Norwich in the FA Cup quarter-final, beg your pardon, on Saturday, and then Brighton away, where we've lost the last 2 games, of course, on the Tuesday. If we can get through that period, July looks pretty tasty in terms of fixtures.
Yeah, and on paper, you look at Brighton away. I think it's Norwich away as well, right, in the FA Cup?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah. But those are 2 difficult grounds to go to when they're packed with fans. But when they're not, it could be a bit more of a winnable game than they have been in the times before.
I definitely agree with that. Absolutely. That is a good point, and maybe that will benefit us. But I do worry that we just, in terms of we're trying to integrate, of course, Rashford and Pogba back into the team, we're trying to get that momentum back up again. If we weren't to take maximum 6 out of Spurs and Sheffield United, we'd be on the back foot already, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we would be. But let's see. I mean, in 10 days, that new Spurs stadium is massive.
Yeah.
And completely empty. It's going to be weird. And it's going to be a lot weirder for them than it is for us.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident about that game, I'll be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah, I am. And I think that it's funny that we've been complaining for months about we're not going to be able to see Bruno and Pogba together. And now that the light is so close at the end of the tunnel, everyone's complaining, oh, well, they're not going to be able to play together. It's ridiculous to me, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah, you're right. Spurs, of course, will have Son and Kane back as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Mourinho would have been plotting in his underground lair for all these months, I'm sure. Look, what do you think, mate? I had a look through the games since Bruno signed, and just the one before, the EFL Cup game away to City, where we put out our first team. And there's obviously a pattern with Ollie. We've had our best runs of form when he's been able to pick the same basis of a team again and again. Look, we've got De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof, Shaw, Matic, Fred, Bruno, Martial have all played either 5 or the full 6 out of those games. I think Bruno only had 5. He had 5 out of 5. There's only Matic and Lindelof who didn't play the full 6. That's 9 players who he's repeatedly picked on that great run. Is it as simple as you put Rashford and Pogba in, make it a kind of diamond formation in midfield there and go with it? Or do you tear up the recipe book and make a new concoction?
I think a little bit of both. I think you also have to remember that for a huge chunk of those games, McTominay wasn't available.
Yeah,
and
of course.
He would come straight back into the team as well. I'm always up for the idea of competition for places. I think it makes everyone better. And I also think that what you were saying earlier, that now that teams, we have 5 substitutions and 9 subs on the bench, that we're going to be able to start the same team, but be able to, rotate players in the second halves and what have you. And I do think that we definitely do have a strongest 11.
Do you think that might be one of Ollie's weaknesses, though, in terms of we've seen when he does chop and change, we normally have our worst runs of results. And as I've just stated, and we saw when he first took the reins, he seems to thrive when he can pick that sort of basis of a first 11.
Maybe, but I also think it's on the players as well. And that the players that we're rotating in maybe don't quite have the quality that they need to make us the team that we want to be. And let's be honest, when we're 30 odd points behind the leader and we need to win every game more than we usually do, because let's be honest, there's the pressure on United to win every game, regardless home or away, who it's against.
Yeah.
But I think the quality disparity between the starting 11 and the rotating players is a bit bigger than it has been in years behind as well.
Yeah. I mean, one thing Ollie has done is tinker with the formation, of course. Look, in big games, he's quite often gone 5-3-2. You think he might go there against Spurs?
That's a really good shout. It's a really good shout. He definitely could. But I think part of his reasoning behind going to that was because we were running out of midfielders at times, and now that we have 6 or 7 central midfielders that could start on that game, it's tough to only have it would be 2 or 3. It'd probably be more like a 5-2-3, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough to only have 2 central midfielders.
Who would you go for? In say, first of all, if we did go diamond, who would you go? Would you have Matic at the back there to protect the back 4? Or would you rather a more fluid diamond?
That is the tough one. It's either Matic or Fred at the back. Pogba and McTominay and Bruno have got to be in there.
Well, you'd think if we go diamond, you put Pogba on the left, right? Because you put your best player
you would.
His favourite position. Bruno at the tip of the diamond. And then McTominay seems a good fit on the right. I know he's done it before.
Mm-hmm.
And then personally, I'd go for Matic,
Mm-hmm.
but also Fred can play out there on the right of a diamond too.
Yeah, you could.
I think it might be a way in certain games to get all those players in. But as we've seen in Brazil teams in years gone by, I think 2006, didn't they? They tried to cram everyone in,
Mm-hmm.
and it ended up not being the sum of all its parts.
But one thing as well is that Solskjaer likes to have fluid teams that can change during the game.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Fred is a bit more versatile than Matic.
Mhm.
In that, if say he wanted to play two holding midfielders and have McTominay come back and play alongside Fred to give Pogba a bit more license to roam forward and a bit more freedom
Yeah.
to play a bit more alongside Bruno, that would certainly work too.
Yeah. I guess what you would tend to look to do if you're going to put Bruno and Pogba in the side is give them the freedom to express themselves as much as possible, and then build the rest of the team around it solidly, knowing you've got Rashford and Martial up front as well. Of course, you lose out on a bit of width, but Bruno and Pogba might be clever enough to make up for that.
You'd hope so. You'd certainly hope so. And listen, it's a fantastic problem to have at the moment, right? To have too many players to fit into too few positions. For years, we've had the complete opposite and wish we've had more quality in the centre. And you know what? It's going to be fun. It's just such a shame it's still 10 days away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And look, I had a look at the table. Leicester sit on 53 points in third, Chelsea 48 in fourth, United 45 in fifth, Wolves 43 in sixth, Sheffield United 43 in seventh, one game in hand. Now, Sheffield United play first, don't they? So they play on the Wednesday. So that's their game in hand out of the way. So we'll know where we stand in terms of that. Looking at the run-ins, they all play each other. Look, Wolves, Chelsea, and Sheffield United all play each other. Leicester have got a pretty tricky run-in as well. You've got Chelsea playing City, West Ham, Sheffield United, Liverpool, and Wolves in the last game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
The way it's set up with a run-in as well, they've almost all got cup games as well, apart from Wolves. You'd have to say, looking at Leicester's form going down, Chelsea's form going down before the break, it does look set up for us to blooming grab this fourth, surely.
Yeah, you'd certainly hope so. But it'll be interesting to see, as we've seen with the Bundesliga. You gave me a statistic a few weeks ago. I can't remember exactly what it was, of the percentage of increase of injuries since everything's come back. And who knows who's going to be injured come the last games of the season. And who knows if Liverpool, once Liverpool do wrap up the title, if they just play a bunch of kids and suddenly Liverpool away for Chelsea doesn't seem like a hard game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The other thing to look at is Chelsea have got loads of London derbies, but they're not really going to be London derbies anymore, are they?
No, exactly.
So you look at, them, that might benefit them in that way as well. Sheffield United have got Wolves, Chelsea and Leicester all in a row, 3 games in a row. So they can't all win all those games. You at all worried about Spurs and Arsenal? They're back on 41 points and Arsenal on 40 with 1 game in hand. They've obviously had a dodgy old season, both of them, but they're not so far behind at all, especially if Arsenal won that game in hand, which is against City on the Wednesday, I must say.
Forget it. What if Spurs beat us? Then they're right back in the mix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we've got to be worried about teams below us, especially when they're Tottenham and Arsenal, to be honest with you, and they do have game winners in their squad. So
yeah,
we've got a lot to worry about. And it's kind of strange that Premier League is already so unpredictable. That's sort of why we love it so much. But now throwing in the element of empty stadiums, increases in probability of injuries, etc.
5 subs.
It's going to be weird, isn't it?
And again, I guess we look inside the club. We look at United, don't we? And we say, oh, we've got a full squad to choose from. But then so have pretty much everyone else now, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Apart from Chelsea and Kante, I'm hearing he was in training today, and they are looking at getting him back in the squad sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think I discussed since the leak. You've been off the pod for a couple of weeks. I think did we discuss the new shirt leak?
Not really.
I certainly did. I told everyone to stick with us with the leak information. What do you think, mate?
Much better than the mock-ups, isn't it?
Blooming night and day.
Yeah. Although I don't like these Donny van der Beek Photoshop pictures that are coming out recently, and they're in the Gopping shirt, but you can't win them all.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a case of them lowering the standards down so that when they release an otherwise dodgy shirt, we go, oh, it's fantastic, it's amazing, because we were expecting such a pile of trash.
No, I think what happened is that someone realised that the balls that they released months and months before sort of have some inkling as to the colour scheme of the shirt, and someone's put 2 and 2 together and got 17.
Well, no, exactly. That's exactly what happened. I said it on the pod at the time. It's a Pro Evolution Soccer kit maker who makes mock-up, kits for Pro Evo, he mocked up a shirt based off the information leaked on a website and through that ball. And then that shirt was made into a real shirt by people thinking it was a real leak. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah, it was from that ball originally. But we
So
go on.
as well, that another ball was released that was the camo green and orange and white, and now we're seeing that's a training color scheme as well. So maybe
Yeah.
maybe the away shirt isn't going to be as bad as you think.
What, the third?
No, the third's still going to be horrific.
No,
but
the away is
the snakeskin.
Yeah, there's a snakeskin. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's confirmed. So yeah, but better than we thought. And look, it seems like the transfer window is now going to be open in August to October, and so that's going to be the new time frame. As I mentioned the other day, Sancho was fined over in Germany, £8,000, called the DFL an absolute joke and whatnot. Look, the latest news really surrounding United, as you mentioned before, Donny van der Beek, Edwin van der Sar said we're interested. Apparently Real Madrid have pulled out. Apparently they had a deal pretty much done. They've pulled out. What do you make of Edwin van der Sar officially saying we're interested in that one?
It's much better than someone I don't trust saying it. But it seems like we're just interested in FC, aren't we? Or the next few weeks FC.
Are you a big fan of van der Beek?
I think he fits Solskjaer's mould.
Yeah.
He can play anywhere along the midfield. He's played fantastically in the Champions League semi-finals when they were there, so he's a big game player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I would be. I mean, it depends who he's going to replace or who we wouldn't get instead of him.
Yeah, well, I mean, the obvious one that springs to mind is Jack Grealish, isn't it? People are saying that he's right at the top of our transfer targets. I don't really know. It's a bizarre one, isn't it? That we seem to be being linked to Van der Beek, Kai Havertz, Jack Grealish, as we said, all attacking midfielders. And then we've got Bruno and Pogba, and we've just discussed of how the blooming hell we're going to fit them into the team together. Is this a preparation for Pogba leaving potentially in the future, or are the papers just going blooming full throttle because they know in a week's time no one's going to be interested anymore and we're all going to be tearing into the Premier League and not worrying about transfers anymore?
A bit of both, probably. There's not much to write about right now, so transfer stories are going up. But, as well, I'm sitting here hoping that Angel Gomez signs a contract, and he's exactly that mould as well. So I really don't know with this. I think that Van der Beek is maybe a bit less of a high-profile signing, would be available to get for less than 50, 60 million. That, Havertz is going to cost 75.
Yeah.
He's unproven in England, as is Van der Beek, obviously. But
I'm hearing Van der Beek might be available for about 40 million quid.
It's less of a risk as well, right?
Yeah.
Jack Grealish, 80 million, 75, 80 million pounds again. Great player, but has off-the-field issues that maybe we don't want to risk 80 million pounds with.
And also not in a position that we're not desperate for as well. Mm-hmm. Look, if you're talking about a right winger, then we all know we want to throw the blooming checkbook in there, and that's fine. If it was 40 million for Van der Beek, you strengthen the squad in a summer where other teams seem to not be strengthening their squad so much, apart from one or two, and you'd say, yeah, well, that's worth finding the 40 million to chuck at it and try and close that gap between us and the top two.
Yeah, I sort of see Van der Beek a bit similar to Ji-Sung Park. Would give us a lot maybe that we don't necessarily have in Jesse Lingard. I know he likes to play Jesse Lingard in that attacking midfield pressing role, but he comes up wanting sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. Van der Beek can slot into a lot of positions. Look, we have been linked to a number of centre backs throughout the summer. RB Leipzig have said in regards to Upamecano that they're either going to sign a new contract with him this summer or they're going to sell him this summer. I know David Ornstein has said United are very, very interested in him, and he's normally got his finger on the pulse. So that's one that has. I'm not going to go through all the blooming transfer rumours. We'll be here all day. That's a realistic one. If you're thinking we're not looking for a first team centre back and we're looking for someone who will challenge for the first team, he fits the mould. If we're going to look for a first team centre back, I don't know where we're going to have the cash for a blooming right winger, central midfielder, and a centre back in this summer.
And Ollie would take a striker if he could find one. Let's be honest.
Another one,
probably. Or and you know they'd buy another goalie as well, another couple of goalies for the academy.
Yeah. Oh God, add to the collection. Well,
let's see how Ted Mengi does in first team training. I told you a few weeks ago he's got a good future.
Yeah. There's been a few positive signs coming out about him. One striker looks off the table. Looks like Chelsea have snapped up Timo Werner. We'll know for sure in the next few days. What do you make of that? Look, they've got Ziyech already. It looks like they are after Ben Chilwell after they've sealed Timo Werner. I'm hearing that Chelsea are going to go full throttle this summer and are going to really try and do what we're expecting United to do, and really put their foot on the pedal when Liverpool apparently pulled out of Werner because they're not going to buy anyone, and that's the message that's been passed over to Klopp. What do you make of that? Was it a bit worrying, or not too bothered?
Not too bothered. I prefer him to go to Chelsea than Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But it seems like a decent summer so far if they're going to get him in and then Chase Chilwell.
Yeah, but it seems like they're strengthening areas they don't necessarily need to strengthen, right? One week we're listening to how Tammy Abraham's the future, and they've got your mate Batshuayi in the
Yeah, you didn't say it right.
on the thing. And I think I'm missing a couple other strikers they got as well. That I'm not too worried about Chelsea, to be honest with you. I'm more worried about City, about Liverpool, about the teams that are really ahead of us that we need to catch.
Yeah, it does seem a crucial summer in terms of clubs like us and Chelsea, though. Really, if we miss out on top four, you just look at Eden Hazard and how they signed him. They won the Champions League, didn't they, with that bloody horrible run, and then scraped in, and he went there when that wouldn't have been an option on the table. And I think that top four is just going to be critical this summer in terms of crossing that line. I don't think I chatted to you since Odion Ighalo signed his extension either. Were you very happy about that, pal?
Yeah, I was pretty happy about that. I was happy that we looked like we could wrap up a deal in a couple of days, because for a week it looked like he was gone, and then a couple of days later it was all good. So it gives me a bit more hope in the Angel Gomez saga.
We still left it to the last hour though, didn't we?
Oh, unbelievable.
And I think it was only because he was banned from going back to China anyway. They were like, actually, we can't have him. You have him. Give us another blooming 6 million.
Yeah, and that Woodward was said to him, listen, you got to tell him that you really want to do it, and it's,
he did indeed.
But bungled it up.
One thing I was just going to ask is, what do you make of our option to buy on that one? We've now popped that in there, so we'll pay 6.5. We'll pay him the rest in wages up to 10.5, and then we have got an option to buy at the end of January next year.
I think that was probably just to keep them happy and probably make them accept the loan.
Yeah, I also think it's good psychology as well, isn't it? You're dangling the carrot in front of Ighalo and saying, look, if you perform and push on. It's a bit bizarre knowing that you're potentially going to lose a striker mid-season, though, especially not knowing exactly how the transfer windows are going to work next season. But great news. I mean, I think, like you say, we're going to have more injuries. And if we were to lose Odion at this stage, we could have paid a price for that. I think it's good, really, really good business.
Yeah, and we got 5 subs, so if we are chasing the game, we'll certainly be able to bring him on as well. And
on the other hand, we've wrapped the game up, and we can bring players off and replace them with worthy replacements.
Yeah, but also we're forgetting the fact that we're going to be playing 2-3 games a week for 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think squad rotation is going to be really important as well.
Yeah, it is indeed. Thanks everyone for joining again today. Get subscribed on the pod if you haven't already. Keep those great reviews coming too. Follow us at United100 Podcast on Instagram for all the latest from the 100% United team. The Premier League is back next week, so we'll have another pod on Monday. So until then, take care of yourselves. Cheerio, Reds.
Ta-ra.